Boy finds photo of missing father in old businessman's wallet, and the truth emerges. Ethan Michael Thompson was running through Zilker Park in Austin when he collided hard with a man in a dark suit. The businessman's wallet flew from his hands, scattering cards and papers across the cobblestone ground. The 9-year-old boy quickly crouched to help, apologizing in a breathless voice. That's when his eyes locked onto an old photo that had fallen among the dry leaves. His fingers trembled as he recognized the familiar face. It was his father, Michael Thompson, who had vanished 3 years ago without a trace. Ethan felt his legs weaken and a strange pain in his chest. "Sorry, mister, I didn't see you," the boy murmured, but his eyes couldn't tear away from the photograph. The businessman, a black man with graying hair and around 60 years old, immediately noticed the shock on the boy's face. "It's nothing, son. Hand me those papers and I'll pick them up." His name was Robert James Thompson, and it had been a long time since his heart had raced like this. He tried to grab the wallet quickly, but Ethan had already clutched the photo tightly. "Mister, this man in the picture, how do you know him?" Robert swallowed hard. This couldn't just be a coincidence. "That's none of your business, boy. Give me the photo back now." But Ethan pressed the picture even tighter against his chest, and tears began streaming down his thin face. "That's my dad. He disappeared 3 years ago, and no one knows where he is." The businessman felt as if he'd been punched in the gut. He looked at the boy properly for the first time. The same brown eyes, the same broad forehead, the way he tilted his head when nervous. He looked just like Michael as a child. "Your father?" he asked hoarsely. "What's his name?" "Michael Thompson. Michael Andrew Thompson." Robert closed his eyes for a moment. After all these years, the past was knocking on his door through an innocent child. "Give me the photo back, son, and forget what you saw here." "No!" Ethan shouted, drawing the attention of passers-by. "You know where he is, don't you? Please, tell me where my dad is." Robert glanced around, uneasy under the curious stares. "Come with me. Let's talk somewhere else." Ethan hesitated. His mother, Jennifer, always told him not to go with strangers, but this man had a photo of his father, maybe his only chance to learn the truth. "Not far. Just over there on the bench," Robert said, pointing to a park bench a few feet away. When they sat down, Ethan stared intently at the businessman. "My dad worked at a construction company before he disappeared. My mum said he went to another city for work and would come back soon. But it's been 3 years. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now, back to the story. Robert took a deep breath. How could he explain to a child that his father was his brother? How could he tell him they'd had a terrible fight and that he himself had contributed to tearing the family apart? "Ethan, is that your name?" "Yeah. Ethan Michael Thompson." "Listen carefully, Ethan. This photo is very old. It's from when I was young. But that's my dad. I recognize him. I know he's your father, son." Robert sighed heavily. "Michael is my brother." Ethan's mouth fell open. An uncle. He had an uncle and never knew. Why had his father never mentioned him? "So, you're my uncle?" "I am. But listen, Ethan, things are complicated between me and your dad. We had a fight a long time ago and..." "A fight about what? And where is he?" Robert stood abruptly. "I can't talk about this now. You need to go home. Your mother must be worried." "But Uncle..." "Don't call me that!" Robert's voice came out harsher than he intended. "Forget what happened here, Ethan, and don't tell your mother you met me." Ethan stood up too, still clutching the photo. "I won't forget, and I won't give this back until you tell me where my dad is." Before Robert could react, the boy took off running. The businessman stood still, watching the small figure disappear among the trees in Zilker Park. After so many years of keeping that secret, everything could now fall apart. Ethan arrived home breathless. He lived with his mother in a modest house in the Riverside Heights neighborhood. Jennifer was in the kitchen preparing lunch when she heard the door slam. "Ethan, why are you running like that?" "Mom, look what I found." He showed her the photo, and Jennifer dropped the spoon on the floor. Her face turned white as paper. Where did you get this?" A man dropped it in the park. Mom, he said he's Dad's brother. Jennifer leaned against the kitchen sink. Her legs were shaking. Ethan, you need to return that photo right now. But Mom, he knows Dad. Maybe he knows where... No, Jennifer shouted, startling her son. You're giving that photo back and you're never talking to that man again, understood? Ethan didn't understand his mother's reaction. Why was she so upset? Mom, if he's Dad's brother, why didn't we ever know? Why didn't you tell me Dad had a brother? Jennifer sank heavily into a chair. How could she explain a truth she had tried so hard to forget? Some things from the past are better left alone, Ethan. But Mom, enough. You're returning that photo tomorrow, and I don't want to hear another word about it. Ethan went upstairs, confused and hurt. He lay on his bed, holding the photo and trying to understand why everyone was hiding the truth from him. He stared at the image of his young father next to the man he'd met in the park. Both were smiling, looking happy. What could have happened to drive them apart? That night, Ethan barely slept. His mind buzzed with questions. The next day, instead of going straight to school, he decided to follow Robert. He remembered seeing the businessman get into a black car when he left the park. Ethan waited on the corner early until he saw the same car pass by. He followed on foot, trying not to lose sight of it. The car stopped in front of a tall office building downtown. Ethan hid behind a newsstand and watched Robert enter. After a few minutes, he approached. In the lobby, a large sign read, Thompson and Associates, Construction, 15th floor. Thompson. The same last name as his father. Can I help you, young man? The doorman asked. I need to speak with Mr. Robert Thompson. Do you have an appointment? Ethan lowered his head. No, but it's important. Sorry, kid, but he only sees people with appointments. Want to leave a message? Ethan left the building discouraged but refused to give up. He watched the comings and goings until he saw Robert step out for lunch. He followed him to a nearby restaurant and waited outside. When Robert emerged, Ethan approached. Uncle Robert. The businessman turned, startled. Ethan, what are you doing here? Shouldn't you be in school? You have to tell me the truth. Why did you fight? And where's my dad? Robert glanced around nervously. A few people began to stare. I can't talk about this out here, and I told you not to call me uncle. Then take me somewhere we can talk. Ethan, you don't understand. These things from the past are complicated. Everything's complicated with adults. Ethan burst out. My dad's gone, Mom won't tell me anything, and now you, who could help, won't talk either. I just want to know where he is. Tears streamed down the boy's face again. Robert felt his heart clench. It was like seeing Michael as a child when he cried because he couldn't fly a kite. All right, but not here. Come on. William took him to a quieter square. They sat on a bench under the shade of a pecan tree. Ethan, what did your mother tell you about your father's disappearance? That he went to work in another city and would come back soon. But he never called, never sent a letter, nothing. William rubbed his face. How to start this conversation? Your father and I, we worked together at the construction company. It was a business our father founded and left to his two sons. And then? Things got difficult between us. Michael had some ideas for the company that I didn't agree with, and there was trouble with money. What kind of trouble? William hesitated. How to explain to a child that he had accused his own brother of theft? A large sum of money went missing from the company, and I thought it was your father. Ethan's eyes widened. My dad isn't a thief. I know that now, Ethan, but back then I was blinded by anger. I accused him in front of everyone. I even called the police. And what happened? Your father was so hurt that he decided to leave town. He said he wouldn't come back until I apologized and admitted my mistake. Ethan fell silent, processing the information. But you admitted your mistake, right? You apologized. William lowered his head in shame. No. My pride was stronger than anything, and by the time I found out who really stole the money, it was too late. Who was it? An employee who worked in accounting. But when we found out, Michael had already been gone for months. Ethan felt a mix of anger and sadness. So you know where he is? Not exactly. What do you mean? William took a deep breath. Look, Ethan, there are things a child doesn't need to know. I'm not a kid anymore. I'm 9, and I have the right to know about my dad. The determination in the boy's eyes reminded William so much of Michael that he felt transported to the past. All right, but you promise you won't do anything foolish? I promise. Your father is in a coastal town, Port Aransas. He works as a fisherman there. Ethan's heart raced. And why doesn't he come back? Why didn't he ever send word? William stayed quiet for a long time. Because he's sick, Ethan. Sick how? It's an illness that affects his mind, his memory. Sometimes he forgets things, forgets people. Ethan felt like he'd been punched in the gut. He doesn't remember me. I don't know, son. It's been a while since I've seen your father in person. But you know he's sick. How? William hesitated again. Because I pay for his treatment. Ethan was confused. You pay? But you two were fighting. No matter how proud I was, Ethan, Michael is my brother. When I found out about his illness, I started sending money for his treatment. But he doesn't know the money comes from me. And does my mom know all this? She does. She's the one who told me about your father's illness. Ethan stood up abruptly. Everyone knew but me? Everyone lied to me? Ethan, wait. But the boy was already running again. He got home furious and found Jennifer sewing in the living room. Mom, why did you lie to me? Jennifer sighed. She knew this moment would come. What are you talking about, honey? About Dad. You knew he was sick, you knew where he was, you knew everything. Jennifer set aside her sewing and pulled Ethan to sit beside her. Ethan, I just wanted to protect you. Protect me from what? From suffering. From seeing your father in a state that would hurt you even more. Ethan was crying again. But he's my dad, Mom. I had the right to know. You were 9 when he left, Ethan. How could I explain all that? And now, can I know now? Jennifer hugged her son. Your father. He has an illness that makes him forget things. When he left, the symptoms were already starting. He knew it would get worse and didn't want you to see it. But I want to see him, Mom, even if he's sick. Ethan, please, Mom. I promise I'll be strong. Jennifer looked at her son. Over the last few years, Ethan had matured a lot. Maybe it really was time for him to know the whole truth. All right, but first, you need to understand what might happen. Your father might not recognize you. He could get confused, scared. I understand, Mom, but I need to try. That night, Jennifer called Robert. Robert, it's Jennifer. Hey, Jen, I figured you'd call. Ethan ran into me today. He told me. I think it's time he knew the whole truth. Are you sure? I am. He's suffering so much not knowing. Maybe it's better for him to suffer knowing than to suffer in ignorance. What do you want me to do? I want you to take us to Michael. Robert fell silent on the other end of the line. Jen, you know how hard this will be for everyone, right? I do. But Ethan has the right to know his father, and maybe it's time for you and Michael to talk too. I don't know if he'll want to see me. Robert, you're brothers, and we don't have much time to waste. The next day, Robert came to pick up Ethan and Jennifer. The trip to Port Aransas would be long, and Ethan was too anxious to sit still in the back seat. Uncle Robert, how is my dad doing? Physically, I mean. He's thinner, more wrinkles, but he's still Michael. And he really works as a fisherman. He does. Says the sea calms his mind. Jennifer held Ethan's hand tightly. Son, you need to be prepared for any reaction, okay? I'm prepared, Mom. But inside, Ethan was terrified and anxious. When they reached Port Aransas, Robert took them straight to the harbor. It was late afternoon, and some fishermen were returning from the sea. There, Robert pointed. Ethan looked in the direction and saw a thin man with graying hair helping unload nets from a small boat. Even older and different, Ethan recognized his father immediately. Dad, he murmured and started running. Ethan, wait, Jennifer shouted, but the boy was already nearing the dock. Dad, Michael looked up at the shout. He stared at the boy running toward him with a confused expression. "Dad, it's me, Ethan, your son." Michael stopped what he was doing and stared at the boy. There was something familiar about that face, those eyes, but his mind couldn't make the connection. "Sorry, kid. I think you've got me mixed up with someone else." Ethan stopped a few feet away, his heart breaking. "Dad, it's me, Ethan. Remember when we flew kites at Zilker Park? And when you taught me to ride a bike?" Michael rubbed his head, trying to force the memory. I don't... That's when Jennifer and Robert got closer. Michael looked at Jennifer and his eyes lit up slightly. Jen, is that you?" "Hi, Michael. What are you doing here, and who's this boy?" Jennifer swallowed her tears. "Michael, this is Ethan, our son." Michael looked at Ethan again, and for a moment it seemed like something shifted in his mind. "Son? I have a son?" "Yes, Dad." "I'm your son," Ethan said, his voice trembling. Then Michael saw Robert standing farther back. His expression changed completely. An old anger flashed in his eyes. "What's he doing here?" Michael's voice was hard, filled with bitterness. "Michael, calm down," Jennifer pleaded. "No, he has no right to be here. After everything he did." Robert stepped forward slowly. "Michael, I came to apologize." "Apologize? After 3 years? After accusing me, humiliating me, tearing our family apart?" Ethan watched in fear as his father and uncle argued. "Dad, calm down." "You don't know anything, boy." Michael turned to Ethan with tears in his eyes. "That man right there is the reason I've been away from you all this time." "Michael, it wasn't like that," William tried. "Wasn't it? You didn't call me a thief in front of everyone. You didn't call the police. You didn't humiliate me so badly that I chose to disappear from town." William lowered his head. "I did. And I was wrong. Very wrong. And now you come here with these cheap excuses?" "Michael, let me explain." "I don't want to hear it. Get out, all of you." Michael started to walk away, but Ethan ran after him. "Dad, don't leave again. Please." Michael stopped and looked at his son. The anger in his eyes turned to confusion. I don't really remember you, boy. I'm sorry." "It's okay, Dad. I can help you remember." Michael knelt to Ethan's height. "Are you really my son?" "Yes, Dad. And I love you so much." Ethan hugged Michael, who stood still for a few seconds before hesitantly returning the embrace. "Jen, what's happening to me? Why can't I remember things right?" Jennifer stepped closer. "You're sick, Michael, but we came here to take care of you." "Sick? What kind of sickness?" "It's a sickness in your head. It affects your memory. But there's treatment." Michael looked at William, who stood a few feet away. "And you? Why did you come?" William took a deep breath. "Because I found out who really stole the company's money, and because I want to apologize for what I did to you." "Who stole it?" "William from accounting. He confessed everything before fleeing town." Michael fell silent, processing the information. "So you knew I was innocent?" "I found out 2 months after you left, but by then I didn't know where you were, and my pride wouldn't let me go after you." "Your pride," Michael repeated bitterly. "Always more important than our brotherly bond, huh?" "Yes, and I pay for it every day." Ethan watched the conversation between his father and uncle, without fully understanding but sensing something important was happening. "Dad, Uncle William's been paying for your medicine," the boy said, thinking he was helping. Michael looked at William in surprise. "Is that true?" William nodded. "Ever since I found out about your illness." "How did you find out?" "Jennifer came to me when you started getting worse. She needed money for your treatment." Michael turned to Jennifer. "You went to him for help?" "Michael, I had no choice. The treatment was expensive, and I didn't have the money." "And you took money from him, knowing everything that happened between us?" Jennifer began to cry. "I just wanted you to get better." Ethan grew frightened by the tension. "Stop it! Stop fighting!" he shouted. "Your family. Families don't fight like this." The boy's outburst silenced everyone. "Dad, I don't care about what happened in the past. I just want you to come home." Michael gently touched his son's face. "Ethan, it's not that simple. I have an illness." "So what? Illness isn't the end of the world. We'll take care of you. But I might forget you again. I might not remember who you are. Then I'll remind you every day. I'll tell you our story every time you forget." Michael smiled for the first time since they'd arrived. "You've grown up so much, huh?" "I have. And I've learned that family is the most important thing in the world." William stepped closer slowly. "Michael, I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I want you to know I regret what I did every day. Our fight tore our family apart, separated you from your son, caused everyone pain. And you think an apology will fix 3 lost years? No, I know it won't, but I want to try. I want you to come back to town, work with me again, be the brother you always were." Michael laughed bitterly. "Work with you? After everything? The company was always ours, Michael. Half of it is rightfully yours. I don't want the company. I don't want anything that reminds me of what happened." Ethan took his father's hand. "Daddy, you don't have to work with Uncle Robert if you don't want to, but come home, be with us." Michael looked at his son, then at Jennifer, then at Robert. "I need to think." "That's okay," said Ethan. "While you think, can we stay here with you for a few days?" Michael smiled again. "Of course." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now, continuing. In the days that followed, Ethan never left his father's side. Every morning he went to the docks to accompany Michael at work. He brought old family photos, told stories from when he was little, and sang songs they used to sing together. Jennifer stayed at a nearby inn and visited every day. Little by little, fragments of memory began returning to Michael. "Ethan, do you remember when we used to build sandcastles at Galveston Beach?" Michael asked one afternoon. "Of course, Daddy. You always said ours was the biggest of all." "Yeah, I'm starting to remember some things." Robert stayed at the hotel, keeping a respectful distance. He only approached when Michael allowed it, which was rare. One evening, as they walked along the beach, Ethan asked, "Daddy, why did you and Uncle Robert fight so much? It wasn't just about the money, was it?" Michael stopped walking. "How do you know?" "Because I know you, Daddy. You wouldn't stay mad this long just over money." Michael sighed. "You're right, Ethan. It wasn't just the money. Then what was it?" "It was because I always felt smaller than him. Robert was always the smarter one, the sharper businessman. Our father made that clear. And then? When he accused me of stealing, it was like confirming everything I ever felt, that he really thought I was inferior, unworthy of trust." Ethan thought for a moment. "But Daddy, if he's here apologizing, doesn't that mean he changed his mind?" "Maybe. Or maybe it's just guilt." "And if it's guilt, is that bad?" Michael looked at his son, surprised by the question. "Why?" "Because if he feels guilty, it means he knows he was wrong. And if he knows he was wrong and came to apologize, maybe he truly regrets it." "When did you get so wise?" "I learned from you, Daddy. Even when you weren't around, Mom always told me the advice you gave." Michael hugged Ethan. "I'm so sorry I was gone so long. What matters is that you're back now." The next morning, a storm hit the town. Strong winds and heavy rain. Michael was helping other fishermen secure their boats when someone shouted that 3 men were in danger at sea. Without hesitation, Michael took a boat and went out to help, despite the rough weather. Ethan and Jennifer watched from the beach, terrified. Robert was there too. "He shouldn't have gone alone," Robert said nervously. "My dad is brave," Ethan replied, though his voice trembled with fear. For nearly an hour, they couldn't see Michael's boat in the storm. Ethan cried, imagining he might lose his father again. When they finally saw the boat returning with the 3 rescued men, everyone cheered. But as he reached the shore, Michael collapsed. The storm and the physical strain had been too much for him. At the local hospital, the doctor explained that Michael had suffered a stress episode that could worsen his neurological condition. "Doctor, will he be okay?" Ethan asked fearfully. "Yes, son, but he needs care." And very strong emotions can speed up the progression of the illness. While Michael was recovering in the hospital, Ethan grew thoughtful. "Mom, what if we bring Dad home anyway? They don't have the good doctors he needs here." "Ethan, your father doesn't want to come back, but after what happened today, maybe he'll change his mind." When Michael woke up, he found Ethan sitting by his bedside. "Dad, you scared me." "I'm sorry, son. I didn't mean to." "Dad, those men you saved, did you remember their names?" "I did." "Why do you ask?" "Because you saved them even though you couldn't remember other things. That means you're still the same good person you've always been." Michael gave a weak smile. "Ethan, I need to tell you something. My memory is getting worse. Sometimes I wake up and it takes me a while to remember where I am." "I know, Dad, but it's okay. We'll take care of you." "But what if one day I don't remember you at all?" Ethan held his father's hand. "Then I'll introduce myself again, every day if I have to." Just then, Robert walked into the room hesitantly. "Can I come in?" Michael nodded. "How are you feeling?" Robert asked. "Alive. Thank God." "Michael, what you did today, saving those men, it was so brave. Anyone would have done the same." "No, not everyone would risk their life for strangers." Ethan looked at his uncle. "Uncle Robert, tell Dad about the company, about the employees." "Ethan, this isn't the time." "Yes, it is, Dad. You need to know." Robert took a deep breath. "Michael, after you left, things got tough at the firm. I couldn't make some decisions on my own. I always needed your input, your way of seeing things. And I ended up having to let some employees go because I didn't know how to handle the problems that came up." Michael stayed silent. "We had a few workplace accidents that might not have happened if you'd been there. You were always more careful about safety." "Why are you telling me this?" "Because I need you to know that I need you, Michael, not just as my brother, but as my partner, my friend. You didn't need me when you accused me of stealing." "I was wrong, Michael, blinded by pride and anger, but you know how our family is. We've always been too proud. And you think that excuses it?" "No, it doesn't excuse anything, but it explains why it took me so long to come after you." Ethan interrupted. "Dad, what did you always teach me about forgiveness? That forgiving isn't forgetting, but giving someone a chance to change." "So?" Michael looked at Ethan, then at Robert. "Robert, if I come back and I say, if, things will have to be different." "How so?" "First, no major decisions without consulting me. Second, you'll have to swallow your pride whenever I disagree with you. Third, the employees you fired will have to be rehired." Robert nodded quickly. "Whatever you say. And one more thing, never, ever doubt me without proof again." "Never again." Ethan smiled. "So, are we going home?" Michael looked at his son, then at Robert. "We're going home." The trip back to Austin was nothing like the one before. Ethan chatted excitedly in the back seat, telling his father all the plans they had for when they got home. "Dad, Mom set up your room just the way you like it, and she kept all your things." "She really did?" "She did. She never lost hope you'd come back." Michael glanced at Jennifer in the front seat. "Jen, why didn't you ever tell me about the illness before?" "Because you've always been proud, Michael. I knew if you found out, you'd pull away even more so you wouldn't be a burden to us." "And I'm not a burden?" "Never. You're my husband, Ethan's father. It doesn't matter if you're sick or healthy." Ethan leaned forward. "Daddy, there's a boy at school whose dad has diabetes. He takes medicine every day and lives a normal life. But Ethan, my illness is different." "So what? An illness is an illness. What matters is that we love you just the same." When they arrived in Austin, their first stop was the house where Michael had lived with his family. "Wow, everything looks just the same," Michael remarked as he stepped inside. "I didn't change a thing, just cleaned and waited," said Jennifer. Ethan tugged his father's hand. "Come see my room, Daddy. I have so many new things to show you." Michael spent the rest of the day reacquainting himself with the house reminiscing about old memories and discovering new things Ethan had collected over the years. By evening, Robert said his goodbyes. "Michael, whenever you want to visit the company again, just say the word. Tomorrow I want to see how things are going." "But don't you want to rest first?" "No. I've lost too much time already. And Ethan can come with me, right, Ethan?" "Can I, Daddy?" "Of course. You'll be my special assistant." Robert smiled. "It'll be good to have you both back." On his first night home, Michael struggled to sleep. The bed was different from the one he'd grown used to over the past 3 years, in a different city with unfamiliar sounds. Ethan noticed his father's restlessness and went to his room. "Daddy, are you okay?" "I'm just a little confused, Ethan. Sometimes I forget where I am when I wake up. Do you want me to sleep here with you tonight?" "You don't have to. I want to. That way, if you wake up confused, I'll be here to remind you that you're home." Ethan lay down beside his father, and the two talked until they fell asleep. "Daddy?" "I love you." "I love you too, Ethan. Even when I forget other things, I'll never forget that." The next day, Michael and Ethan went together to the construction company. When they entered the building, several employees recognized Michael and came to greet him. "Mr. Thompson, it's so good to have you back. We missed you so much." "Things weren't the same without you here." Ethan felt proud seeing how much everyone loved his father. In the office, Robert showed Michael all the changes that had taken place in the company. "As you can see, some things didn't go as planned," Robert admitted. "Can I suggest a few changes?" Michael asked. "Of course, please do." Over the next few hours, Michael reviewed reports, spoke with employees, and visited ongoing projects. Ethan accompanied him everywhere, asking questions and trying to understand his father's work. "Daddy, you're really smart," Ethan remarked. "Why do you say that?" "Because you see things no one else does, and you come up with solutions no one else thought of." Michael smiled. It was true. Despite the illness affecting his memory, his reasoning skills for work remained sharp. "Ethan, want to help Daddy with something important?" "Yes. I want to rehire the employees your Uncle Robert let go. Can you help me find their phone numbers?" "I can." Ethan felt important helping his father with that task. In the weeks that followed, Michael gradually adjusted to being back. Some mornings were harder than others. Sometimes he woke up confused, not remembering where he was. But Ethan was always there to remind him. "Daddy, you're in our house in Austin. You came back to work at the construction company with Uncle Robert. I'm Ethan, your son, and I love you so much." "Thank you, Ethan. You're my guardian angel." Jennifer also settled into the new routine. She took Michael to regular doctor's appointments, made sure he took his medicine on time, and prepared healthy meals. "Jen, I know taking care of me isn't easy," Michael said one night. "Michael Thompson, don't talk nonsense. Taking care of you is a joy. I love you, sick or healthy. What if I forget you too? Then I'll introduce myself to you again every day, just like Ethan said." One day, Ethan came home from school and found his father sitting in the living room, staring at an old photo. "Daddy, what are you doing?" "I'm trying to remember when this was taken." Ethan sat beside his father and looked at the photo. There was a picture of the two of them at the park, with Ethan still very little. "This was on my 4th birthday, Dad. We went to Zilker Park, and you taught me how to play soccer." "Really?" Michael smiled. "Was I a good teacher?" "You were the best teacher in the world." "Ethan, can I ask you something?" "Sure." "Doesn't it make you sad when I don't remember things?" Ethan thought for a moment. "It makes me a little sad, Dad. But then I remember you're here with me, and the sadness goes away." "How so?" "Because even if you forget the past, we can make new memories every day." Michael hugged his son tightly. "How did I get so lucky to have such a wise son?" "Because you taught me to be this way, Dad. Even without remembering, you still teach me things every day." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps those of us just starting out. Now, continuing. The months passed, and the Thompson family found a new balance. Michael and Robert worked together again, and though there were occasional tensions, they were learning to relate to each other more maturely and respectfully. The construction company was thriving once more. Michael's innovative ideas, combined with Robert's administrative experience, created an efficient partnership. Ethan became a regular presence at the office after school, helping with small tasks and observing everything with curiosity. "Dad, why do you draw the houses before building them?" Ethan asked one afternoon. "Because it helps us avoid mistakes, son. It's better to mess up on paper than in real construction." "And you never make mistakes." Michael laughed. "Of course I do, Ethan. Everyone makes mistakes. What matters is learning from them." That answer stayed with Ethan. Whenever his father had memory lapses, the boy remembered those words and understood that the illness was also a kind of mistake that couldn't be fixed, only accepted and worked around. One day, Michael didn't show up for work. Ethan and Jennifer found him at home sitting in the kitchen, staring blankly at a cold cup of coffee. "Dad, are you okay?" Michael looked at Ethan without recognition. "Who are you, boy? What are you doing in my house?" Jennifer's heart clenched, but Ethan stayed calm. "Hi, Dad. I'm Ethan, your son. This is Jennifer, your wife. You're in our home, in Austin. I don't have a son, and I don't know you." "It's okay, Dad. Want me to show you some pictures to help you remember?" Ethan went to get the photo album and began showing the images to his father, patiently recounting the story behind each one. "This one is when I was born. You're holding me in the hospital. And this is when I started walking. You're standing with your arms open, waiting for me to reach you." Slowly, small fragments of recognition flickered in Michael's eyes. "Ethan?" he murmured hesitantly. "It's me, Dad." Michael hugged his son and began to cry. "I'm sorry, Ethan. Sometimes I get so confused." "It's okay, Dad. We'll take care of you." Episodes like this became more frequent. Some days, Michael woke up completely lucid. Other days, he seemed lost in time. Ethan learned to handle each situation with patience and love. At school, his classmates sometimes asked about his father, and Ethan answered matter-of-factly, "My dad's sick, but he's getting better. He sometimes forgets things, but he never forgets that he loves me." Ethan's teacher, Mrs. Peterson, a woman around 60 years old, was impressed by the boy's maturity. "Ethan, can I talk to you for a minute?" "Sure, Aunt Carmen." "How do you manage to be so strong with everything happening at home?" Ethan thought for a moment. "My dad always taught me that family is the most important thing in the world, and when someone in the family needs help, we can't give up." "And don't you ever feel sad?" "I do. But then I remember that many kids don't even have a dad. I have mine, even if he sometimes forgets me." Mrs. Peterson was moved by his answer. "Your father must be so proud of you." "I hope so, Aunt Carmen." One day, Ethan came home from school and found an ambulance outside the house. He ran inside in a panic and saw Michael being treated by paramedics. "Mum, what happened?" "Your father had a bad episode, Ethan. He got very agitated and confused." "Is he okay?" "Yes, sweetheart. But the doctors think it's best to take him to the hospital for some tests." Ethan wanted to ride in the ambulance, but Jennifer thought it was better for him to stay with the neighbor until she got back. At the hospital, the doctors explained that Michael was going through a more aggressive phase of the illness. "Mrs. Thompson, it's normal for symptoms to worsen at times. The important thing is to keep up with treatment and be patient." "Doctor, how much time does my husband have left with his memory intact?" "It's hard to predict. It could be months, it could be years. Every case is different." When Jennifer got home, she found Ethan waiting anxiously. "How's Dad?" "He's okay, sweetheart, but he'll need to stay in the hospital for a few days." "Can I visit him?" "Of course." The next day, Ethan went to the hospital with a notebook full of drawings he'd made the night before. "Dad, I brought you some drawings." Michael was calmer but still seemed confused. "You draw well, kid. What's your name again?" Ethan swallowed his sadness and smiled. "Ethan. I'm your son, Dad. And these drawings are of our family." He showed sketches of their house, the family together, his father at work, the two of them playing ball at Zilker Park. "You drew all this?" "I did, to help you remember us when you get confused." Michael carefully flipped through the notebook. We have a beautiful family, don't we, Ethan? It's the best family in the world, Dad. Robert visited the hospital that afternoon. Hi, Michael. How are you? Hi. Sorry, should I remember you? Ethan stepped in. Dad, this is Uncle Robert, your brother. You work together at the construction company. Oh, right. Nice to meet you, Robert. Robert hid his sadness at not being recognized by his brother. Michael, I brought some old photos of us. Want to see? I'd love to. Robert showed pictures from their childhood, their parents, the early days of the business. We were happy as kids, weren't we? Michael remarked. We were, and we can be happy again. How? By being brothers, taking care of each other. Ethan smiled, watching his uncle try to rebuild his friendship with his father. After a few days, Michael came home with new medication to help control the worst episodes. The doctors recommended a structured routine and a calm environment. Ethan made a detailed schedule for his father. Times for medicine, meals, light exercise, and relaxation. Dad, what if every morning we check this chart? It has everything you need to do today. Good idea, Ethan. You're very organized. I learned from you, Dad. Mornings became special for father and son. They had breakfast together, reviewed the day's schedule, and looked at old photos. It was when Michael was usually most lucid. Ethan, can I tell you a secret? Of course, Dad. Sometimes I pretend to remember things I don't anymore, just so I don't make you all sad. Dad, you don't have to do that. We love you just the way you are. But I'm scared you'll give up on me. Never, Dad. Family never gives up. Michael hugged his son tightly. How did I get so lucky to have you? Because you're an amazing dad, Dad. Even when you're confused. One Saturday, Ethan decided to take his father to see the school he attended. Dad, want to see my school? I'd love to. They walked together through the neighborhood streets. Ethan pointed out every place, shared stories, and highlighted details. This is where I buy sugar bread every Friday. That's Mr. Johnson's house. He fixes bikes. And here's my school. The school was closed, but Ethan knew a way into the courtyard. This is where I play soccer with my friends, and over there's my classroom. Do you like school? Yeah, especially math. You said it's important to know numbers to work at the construction company. Did I really say that? Yeah, you said you wanted me to be an engineer when I grew up. And do you want to be an engineer? Yeah, so I can work with you and Uncle William. Michael smiled proudly. Then we'll work together in the future. We sure will, Dad. On their way home, they passed the neighborhood church. Ethan had always been curious about that place. Dad, do you believe in God? I do, Ethan. Why? Because I think God helped us find each other again. How so? You were gone for 3 years. I grew up hurting, not knowing where you were. But at just the right time, I ran into Uncle William and found your picture. It can't just be a coincidence. Michael stopped walking and looked at his son. You're right, Ethan. God watched over us even when we didn't know it. Want to go inside the church for a minute, Dad? Let's do it. They entered the small church and sat on one of the pews. The space was quiet and welcoming. Dad, can I say a prayer for you? Of course, son. Ethan closed his eyes and whispered, God, thank you for bringing my dad back. I know he's sick, but at least he's here with me. Please don't let him suffer too much and give me strength to take good care of him and help our family stay together always. Amen. Michael's eyes filled with tears. Thank you, Ethan. Why, Dad? For teaching me that love is stronger than any illness. When they left the church, Michael seemed calmer and happier. At work, William noticed Michael was having more trouble focusing. Decisions that used to come easily now took more time and explanation. Michael, how about we adjust your responsibilities? You handle the creative side, and I'll take care of the paperwork. Are you pushing me aside because I'm getting stupid? No, never. You're still the most creative guy I know. I just want to make things easier for you. Okay, but I want to keep coming to work every day. Of course, the company isn't the same without you. Ethan kept accompanying his father to work whenever he could. He saw how William treated Michael with patience and care, trying to make up for the years they'd lost. Uncle William, can I ask you something? Sure, Ethan. Do you regret what you did to my dad? William stopped what he was doing. I regret it every day, Ethan. It was the biggest mistake of my life. But you're friends again now, right? We're trying. Your dad is incredibly generous to give me this second chance. It's because he loves you, Uncle. Even when he was hurt, he always loved you. How do you know? Because once, when he was confused, he said he missed his brother. He didn't remember why you were fighting, just that he loved you. William was moved. Thank you for telling me that, Ethan. Family is forever, right, Uncle? It's forever. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like the video and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now back to the story. The months kept passing and Ethan noticed he was growing not just physically but emotionally. By age 10, he already understood responsibilities that most kids his age couldn't even imagine. At school, he wrote an essay about his family that caught his teacher's attention. My family is different from others. My dad has an illness that makes him forget things. Sometimes he doesn't even remember me. But I don't get mad at him because I know it's not his fault. My mom takes care of everyone and never complains. My uncle helps us and regrets the mistakes he's made. And me, I learn every day that love is more than remembering. It's being there even when things are hard. Mrs. Peterson showed the essay to the school principal. This boy has incredible maturity, the principal remarked. Yes, and the most beautiful part is he holds no bitterness, just love and understanding. His family must be doing an amazing job raising him. In truth, Ethan was doing an amazing job for his family. One day, Jennifer got a worrying call from the doctor. Mrs. Thompson, I need to speak with you about your husband's condition. Did something show up in his recent tests? The tests indicate the disease is progressing faster than we expected. Jennifer felt her world crumble. What does that mean? It means his periods of confusion will become more frequent and last longer. Is there anything we can do? Keep up the treatment, maintain a structured routine, and most importantly, preserve the loving environment you've already created. How long before he stops being himself? It's impossible to say exactly, but cherish every moment of clarity you still have. Jennifer hung up and cried harder than she had in years. How could she tell Ethan? How do you prepare a 10-year-old to watch his father slowly fade away? Ethan came home from school and found his mother still in tears. Mom, what's wrong? Jennifer tried to hide it. It's nothing, sweetheart. Mom, I'm not a little kid anymore. I'm not a little kid. I know when something's wrong. Jennifer sighed. He was right. He deserved the truth. The doctor called. Your dad's illness is getting worse faster than they expected. Ethan felt a chill in his stomach. What does that mean? It means he'll be confused more often, and maybe one day he won't recognize anyone anymore. Ethan stayed silent for a long time. Mom, does that change how much we love him? Of course not, honey. Then nothing important has changed. Jennifer looked at Ethan, amazed by his wisdom. How are you so strong? Because you and Dad taught me to be, and because crying won't heal him, right? No, it won't. Then we should make the most of the time we have to be happy together. That night, Ethan had an idea. He went to his parents' room and found Michael reading. Dad, can I ask you something? Of course. I want you to tell me every family story you still remember, so I can tell them back to you later, when you forget. Michael understood what his son was asking. You want to be my memory keeper? Yes, Dad. Then come here. Let me tell you about the day you were born. Ethan sat beside his father, grabbed a notebook, and began writing down every detail. When you were born, Ethan, it was a very sunny Monday morning. Your mum was nervous, but I was even more nervous. I'd never seen a baby so tiny and so perfect. Over the next few weeks, Ethan collected dozens of stories. About the first step, the first word, the games at the park, the trips to the mall, the family Christmases, the beach vacations. Daddy, tell me about that time we made a kite together. Oh, that was special. You were 6 and really wanted a kite like the other boys. We bought blue and red tissue paper, bamboo and string. We spent the whole afternoon making it. When we went to fly it, the wind was weak, and the kite wouldn't go up. You got discouraged, but I said, patience, Ethan, patience. Sometimes we have to wait for the right moment. And when the wind picked up, our kite flew higher than all the others. Ethan wrote everything down carefully. And what was the lesson of that story, Daddy? That patience and perseverance are always rewarded. I'll remember that forever. One night, Ethan woke up to strange noises coming from his parents' room. He went to check and found Michael trying to pack a suitcase. Daddy, what are you doing? I need to leave, Ethan. I can't stay here. Why do you want to leave? Because I'm losing my mind and I don't want you to see that. Ethan sat on the bed beside his father. Daddy, you're not losing your mind. You're sick. And when someone's sick, the family takes care of them. But I'll get worse, Ethan. There'll come a time when I won't even remember your name. So what? I'll keep remembering yours. Michael stopped packing. Ethan, you don't understand. I'll be a burden to you. Daddy, look at me. Michael looked into his son's eyes. Do you remember when I was little and got sick? I do. You took care of me, right? Gave me medicine, stayed by my side, told me stories. I did. And was I a burden to you? Of course not. You were my son. It was my joy to care for you. Then why would it be different now? Michael's eyes filled with tears. Because now I'm the child, and you're the one taking care of me. So what? Love is love, Daddy. It doesn't matter who cares for whom. Michael hugged Ethan and cried like a child. Thank you for not giving up on me, Ethan. I'll never give up, Daddy. Never. The next morning, Ethan woke up early and made breakfast for the family. When his parents came down, they found the table set and a little note beside Michael's plate. Daddy, good morning. Today is Tuesday, September 15th. You're Michael Thompson, 43 years old, married to Jennifer, and father to Ethan. That's me. We live in Austin and work at Thompson & Associates with your brother Robert. You're sick, but we love you very much and take care of you. The coffee's hot and the day is beautiful. Love you. Ethan. Michael read the note and smiled. Are you going to do this every morning? If I need to, yes. What if I can't read it? Then I'll read it to you. Jennifer was moved by her son's devotion. Ethan, are you sure you want this responsibility? Mom, he's my father. It's not responsibility, it's love. In the following months, Michael's condition really worsened. His moments of confusion grew longer, and sometimes he'd go days without recognizing the family. Ethan developed strategies to handle each situation. He made a photo album with captions, recorded audio messages for when his father got too agitated, and learned relaxation techniques with a psychologist's help. Ethan, how did you learn all this? The psychologist asked, impressed. Researching online, talking to other families with sick loved ones, asking doctors. Isn't it hard for you? It is. Sometimes I cry in the bathroom, but then I remember my dad needs me, and I get strong again. You're a very special boy. I'm not special. I'm just doing what any son would do. Robert became more and more present in the family's life. He noticed Jennifer was overwhelmed, and Ethan was taking on too much responsibility for his age. Jen, how about I hire someone to help with Michael? Robert, we don't have money for a nurse. Let me handle that. It's the least I can do. I can't accept any more favors from you. It's not a favor, Jen. It's family. Ethan interrupted the conversation. Uncle Robert, Mom is tired but too proud to accept help, and you feel guilty and want to help too much to ease that guilt. The two adults were surprised by the boy's observation. And what's your opinion? Asked Robert. That you both need to stop thinking about the past and start focusing on what's best for Dad now. And what's best for him? Having the whole family united, taking care of him. No guilt, no pride, just love. Jennifer sighed. All right, Robert, I accept your help. And I'll stop punishing myself for the past and focus on the present. Ethan smiled. Now you're finally talking like family. The nurse Robert hired was named Dorothy, an experienced and kind woman in her 50s. Dorothy, can you teach me how to take better care of my dad? Asked Ethan. Of course, sweetheart, you already do so well with him. But I want to learn more. Exercises, massages, ways to calm him when he gets agitated. Ethan, you don't have to carry all this alone. I know, but I want to be ready for anything. Dorothy was moved by the boy's dedication. All right, I'll teach you everything I know. Ethan became an exemplary caregiver. He learned physical therapy techniques, memorized all medications and schedules, and developed therapeutic activities. Dad, want to do a puzzle? I don't know if I can, Ethan. Just try a little. It's good for your brain. Michael would try to fit the pieces, sometimes getting it right, sometimes not. Ethan always encouraged him. Great job, Dad. You found where that piece goes. Did I really? You did. You're so smart. Even on hard days, Ethan kept his optimism and patience. One day, Ethan came home from school to find Michael extremely agitated. He didn't recognize anyone and was trying to leave. Let me go. You have no right to keep me here. Mr. Thompson, calm down, Dorothy said. You're home, you're safe. Home? This isn't my home. I want to go home. Ethan approached slowly. Hi, I'm Ethan. Can we talk? Do you know me? I do. We're friends. Want to sit here with me? Ethan managed to calm Michael using techniques he'd learned. He spoke softly, maintained eye contact, and offered water. Thank you for calming me down, kid. What's your name again? Ethan. And yours? Michael. Michael Thompson. Nice to meet you, Mr. Thompson. Want me to tell you a story? I'd like that. Ethan told one of the family stories he'd collected, adapting it like any other tale. Once, there was a very kind man who had a young son. They loved flying kites together. Michael listened intently, smiling at times. That's a beautiful story. That father and son loved each other very much, didn't they? They did. And even when the father got sick and started forgetting things, the son never stopped loving him just the same. And the father, did he keep loving his son? Always. Even when he couldn't remember the boy's name, his heart always knew he was someone special. Michael stared at Ethan. Ethan, you're my son, aren't you? I am, Dad. I'm sorry I forgot. It's okay, Dad. What matters is you remember now. Scenes like this became routine. Ethan developed a special gift for handling his father in any state. At school, his classmates began noticing Ethan wasn't like other boys his age. Ethan, why don't you ever come play at friends' houses? One asked. Because I need to take care of my dad. But can't he take care of himself? No, he's sick. What kind of sickness? A sickness that makes him forget things. That must be tough, having a dad like that. Ethan got angry for the first time. It's not tough. My dad is the best dad in the world, sick or not. Calm down, Ethan. I didn't mean to offend. Then don't talk about my dad if you don't know him. Mrs. Peterson, the teacher, noticed the conflict and called Ethan over to talk. Ethan, is everything okay? Yeah, Mrs. Peterson. It's just that sometimes people say things about my dad without understanding our situation. And how do you feel when that happens? I get mad. Because they only see the sickness, not the amazing man he is. Ethan, can I give you some advice? Sure. Sometimes people say things out of ignorance, not malice. If you explain the situation patiently, maybe they'll understand better. You're right, Mrs. Peterson. The next day, Ethan asked to give a presentation to the class about Alzheimer's and other memory-affecting diseases. My dad has a sickness that makes him forget things, he explained to his classmates. But that doesn't mean he's not my dad anymore. He's still loving, smart, and brave. The only difference is that sometimes he needs help remembering. His classmates asked questions, and Ethan answered each one with patience and knowledge. Ethan, your dad is lucky to have a son like you, one classmate commented. Actually, I'm the lucky one to have a dad like him. After the presentation, Ethan noticed his classmates treated him with more respect and understanding. At home, the situation remained challenging, but the family had found a rhythm. Jennifer worked part-time, Dorothy took care of Michael during the day, William visited regularly, and Ethan stepped in when he got home from school. Ethan, don't you think you should play more? Go out with friends? Jennifer asked. Mom, I do play. I just play here at home with you guys. But you're a kid. You need to do kid things. Mom, taking care of the people we love isn't a sacrifice. It's a privilege. Jennifer hugged her son with pride and worry at the same time. One morning, Ethan woke up and found Michael sitting in the backyard, looking at the sky. Good morning, Dad. Good morning. You're Ethan, right? Yeah, I am. Ethan, can I tell you a secret? Sure. Sometimes I don't remember things, but I always remember that you're special to me. What do you mean, Dad? I can't explain it well. It's like my heart holds a memory my mind can't reach. Ethan felt his eyes well up. I love you, Dad. I love you too, Ethan, even when I don't remember why. That conversation stayed with Ethan as one of the most important in his life. The years passed, and Ethan grew into a responsible, mature teenager. Michael continued to decline, but was always surrounded by love and care. By the time Ethan turned 15, Michael no longer spoke and rarely recognized those around him. But Ethan still talked to him, sharing about school, friends, and his plans for the future. Dad, today I decided I'm really going to be an engineer. I'll study hard to get into a good college, and when I graduate, I'll work at the construction company with Uncle William. I'll make you proud of me. Even without responding, Michael sometimes smiled or squeezed his son's hand. One afternoon, William approached Ethan. Ethan, can we talk? Sure, Uncle. I want to make you an offer. How about you start interning at the construction company during the summer? That way you can start learning the business. Really, you'd let me? Of course, the company is yours too. One day you'll take over with me. What about Dad? Would he have liked the idea? I'm sure he would. It was his dream to see you working with us. Ethan looked at his father, who was sleeping in the armchair. Then I accept, but only if it's for real. Don't treat me like a child. Closed. During the vacation, Ethan started working at the construction company. He learned about projects, budgets, building materials. He showed a natural aptitude for the business. Ethan, you have the same look in your eyes as your father did when he was young, commented a longtime employee. What do you mean? You see possibilities where others see problems. Ethan felt connected to his father through work. Every project he helped develop was a way to honor the memory of the man Michael had been. One evening, Ethan was showing some sketches to his father. Dad, look at this project I helped design. It's a house for a family with 3 kids. It has a big backyard for them to play in. To his surprise, Michael murmured something. What, Dad? I didn't catch that. Michael made an effort and repeated, beautiful, very beautiful. Ethan was moved. It was the first time in months his father had spoken. Thank you, Dad. I learned from you. Michael smiled faintly and fell silent again. Ethan ran to tell Jennifer. Mom, Dad spoke. He said my project was beautiful. Jennifer hugged her son, crying, He's proud of you, Ethan. I know, Mom. I can feel it. That was the last time Michael spoke coherently. In the following months, his condition continued to deteriorate, but the family maintained their loving care routine. Ethan graduated high school with top grades and got into engineering school on his first try. Dad, I did it. I got into college, he told Michael on results day. His father didn't respond, but Ethan swore he saw a tear roll down his face. I'll study hard, Dad, and when I graduate, our construction company will be the best in Austin. On high school graduation day, Ethan asked Michael to attend the ceremony. Ethan, your father won't be able to follow along, Jennifer said worriedly. It's okay, Mum. He doesn't need to understand what's happening. He just needs to be there. During the ceremony, Michael sat calmly in his wheelchair beside Jennifer and Robert. When Ethan's name was called, the young man waved at his father before stepping on stage. This diploma is dedicated to my father, Michael Thompson. He taught me that love is stronger than any illness, and that family is forever. The audience applauded tearfully, and Ethan stepped down to hug his father. Years later, Ethan graduated as an engineer and officially joined the company. Michael was still alive, but no longer responded to any stimuli. Dad, today was my first day as an official engineer at the company. Uncle Robert put me in charge of a big project. A school. Remember when you used to say building schools was building the future? Ethan stroked his father's face. I know you can't answer me, but I want you to know everything I am. I learned from you. Your illness took your memories, but not the love you planted in me. One morning, Dorothy found Michael much weaker. The doctor explained he was entering the final stage. How long? Jennifer asked. Hard to say, could be days, could be weeks. Ethan, now 22, made a decision. Mom, I want to stay with him till the end. Ethan, you have work, a life. My life is here taking care of him. Uncle Robert understands. Ethan spent Michael's last days by his side, talking, singing, telling stories. Even without responses, he felt Michael heard him. Dad, remember that song we used to sing when I was little? Ethan softly hummed their favorite tune. On the final day, Ethan held his father's hand as Michael opened his eyes one last time. For a moment, his gaze seemed clear and focused. Ethan, he whispered, almost inaudibly. I'm here, Dad. Love. You. I love you too, Dad. Forever. Michael closed his eyes with a serene smile on his face and passed away peacefully, his son's hand holding his. The funeral was simple but filled with love. Ethan gave a heartfelt speech. My father, Michael Thompson, taught me that true love doesn't depend on perfect memory but on a present heart. He may have forgotten many things because of his illness, but he never forgot to love us, and we will never forget him. After the funeral, Ethan and Robert had an important conversation. Ethan, I know it's early to talk about this, but the construction company is now officially half yours. Uncle, I don't want an inheritance. I want to earn it. What do you mean? I want to buy Dad's share with my own hard work. That way I'll honor his memory the right way. Robert smiled proudly. Your father would be so proud of you. I hope so. Years later, Ethan married a young nurse he met while caring for his father. They had 2 children, Michael Ethan and Emma Grace. Grandpa Michael was a very special man, Ethan would tell his children. He taught me that family is the most important thing in the world and that true love never forgets. Daddy, tell us the story about when you found the photo in Uncle Robert's wallet, Michael Ethan would ask, already 8 years old. Once upon a time, a 9-year-old boy bumped into a businessman at the park, and Ethan would tell the story that changed his life all over again, keeping alive the memories and values his father had taught him. The construction company Thompson & Sons thrived under Ethan and Robert's management, always upholding the values of honesty, quality and care for others that Michael had stood for. On the wall of the main office, a framed photo showed Michael smiling beside a young Ethan. Below it, a plaque read, Michael Thompson, a father who taught us that love is stronger than forgetting. And so, despite all the hardships, losses and challenges, the love of the Thompson family prevailed, proving that true bonds withstand any storm. Ethan became not only a successful engineer, but a man of integrity who carried his father's best lessons with him. And whenever someone asked about the secret to his strength and wisdom, he would answer, I had the best teacher in the world. My father taught me that to love is to be present, even when all seems lost. The end. Now tell me, what did you think of this story of love, resilience, and family? Do you know someone who's gone through similar situations? How would you react if you were in Ethan's place? Leave your honest thoughts about this touching journey in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss other heartwarming stories like this one.